So let's talk about 2020. God, what a shitty year. Just the worst ever. Dumpster fire.
Dumpster fire, yeah.
Dumpster fire going down the stairs into a cesspit of...
Dumpster fire into a gas station in Winona.
You know what? It wasn't all bad. And I think we need to take a break from all this negativity and just remember some of the good things that actually happened, because there were some good things that actually happened.
Let's broaden our view a little bit more instead of laser-like focus on all this negativity.
Right. And as we look back at this year, we can hopefully look forward to some more good things happening next year.
We can look forward to the fact that it won't be 2020.
Exactly. At the very least, it won't be 2020 anymore. You can't dispute that.
You can guess that. Yeah, you can set your clock to that. You can take that to the bank.
It's so easy to be negative. It takes almost no effort, but it's a lot freaking harder to be positive, especially when things are bad.
Yeah. I'm reminded by that really lame thing that you were told when you were a kid about the amount of muscles it takes to frown as opposed to smile. I don't know, something. Go ahead, sorry.
There are things that are going on right now and have been going on for a while that are shitty. I mean, we talk about it on this very podcast.
Right here.
I'm not trying to be hypocritical or anything and say that I'm happy all the time, but we should celebrate what's working.
Agreed.
And
keeps things in perspective.
Yeah, and just the fact that you have the ability to complain about how things suck is great.
That's a really good point. We kind of forget that here in America.
Yeah.
As lame as things are, we forget that they could be a lot lamer, especially for some poor folks in other parts of the world.
Right, who either are too busy, starving or getting fucking worked to death.
Yeah.
Or nobody would listen to them.
Heads shaved, organs transplanted, little things here and there.
Exactly. And
literal slave auctions going on in Sudan or Saudi Arabia or one of those.
Yeah. Terrible things, like I was saying. Drew, let's stick to the point here.
This isn't a contest, Drew.
And I think it's important also to remember that, I hate saying the news has an agenda, but
no way.
It's in their best interest to keep you glued to the news and yes. Mainly scared and terrified. And, oh God.
The only thing that sells more than sex, bro, is fear.
Right. Well, and bad news tends to happen very quickly, and good news tends to take a long time. And it's not sexy. It doesn't sell papers.
That's a good point.
Yeah. So you take that whole, coming back engagement thing, and then you add in social media, which is literally designed, you add the algorithms and the personalization. It's
designed to entice
the micro-targeting.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems like everything is just complete shitty because the good news just never gets out there. It gets buried. You're just bombarded with bad stuff. And especially in a year where people think that bad things have been happening, are going to keep happening. And, there's the whole narrative of this is the worst year that's ever happened. And, what's the next terrible thing? I want to know what the next terrible thing I can complain about is.
Although a good deed or a good positive thing in a sea of negativity definitely stands out.
Right.
There's a really good analogy I heard a long time ago. You can go into a completely pitch black room and light a little match, a tiny little match, and instantly the entire room gets less dark. It shines so much brighter, and it basically pushes it makes the darkness fleeting, right? And you can't do that. You can't do the opposite of that, rather. You can't go into a room full of light and truth, positivity and stuff, and put a little bit of a lie or a little bit of a darkness. Yeah. It just doesn't work the same way. And so I just thought that was always really inspirational.
That is cool. I do like that. On top of all that, you have to look at the sample size of the news. Okay. And what I mean by that is
the amount of things happening as opposed to the amount of things being reported.
Yeah. And I'm just not a fan of the entire fatalist attitude. I like to think of myself as a realist. I'm not really the most optimistic person, but
you're not black-pilled?
No.
You're white-pilled? You have hope?
Yeah, exactly. At the end of the day, yes, there are some terrible people out there doing terrible things for terrible reasons.
For sure.
But there's also a lot of good people doing good things for good reasons.
Yeah.
With that in mind, I think it's a good idea to look at, some of the good things that came out of this year.
There's only a couple things that I picked or whatever. There's a whole bunch of things I was looking at, but I kind of decided while I was doing some of the little shorthand research on this that I don't want to do anything political.
Yeah, I had the same revelation.
There's a lot of things I wanted to talk about with the economy.
Yeah.
The economy was doing as good as it could have been. Peace deals and stuff like that. Don't get me wrong. I don't think that those should be overshadowed. I just think that
reforms and such.
Yeah, exactly. I just think that I wanted to pick something that everybody could agree. Yes, this is something we can all agree on was good for 2020. I mean, I don't know how you see that peace deals aren't good, but I mean, obviously there's a lot of potential for good. I don't know why, but you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I just wanted to pick plus politically neutral things.
Yeah, not to mention it's like all that anybody's hearing about right now. So
exactly, dude. That's another reason why I'm just God, everybody can just kind of
and I'm trying to be antithetical to what people are getting every day in their ears.
Yes, no kidding, dude. Main vein in it.
Yeah.
So the first one that I have here is kind of an intense one, but it's a good thing.
Okay.
A little bit of chicory in the coffee perks it up in the morning. It's a good thing. Yeah, number one on my list is Ghislaine Maxwell arrested.
See, I was considering putting that on my list. So,
nice, awesome, great minds think alike, Markus. As we know, former, she's still British, but British, former socialite. Who is known for association with the mystery financier and infamous convicted kid diddler Jeffrey Epstein. Yeah, so she worked for her father, the publishing tycoon and well-known Mossad agent Robert Maxwell, until his, of course, suspicious boating accident death, quote unquote, back in 91. So back in 2019, after Epstein didn't kill himself, Ghislaine Maxwell went into kind of like a pseudo hiding to avoid the mountain of civil and criminal lawsuits that were starting to pile up from her old buddy. Yeah, exactly. Hammer was coming down. In 2010, Ghislaine Maxwell had agreed to provide a deposition for one of the cases that was getting reported on. And the day before, a lawyer was scheduled to fly out to New York to take her deposition. She basically flew to the United Kingdom claiming that her mother was ill and stuff, and that she wasn't basically going to come back until she did later. I can't remember what month it was, but basically it was just to attend Chelsea Clinton's wedding. It's kind of a little weird factoid. And then she eventually was arrested in Brantford, New Hampshire by the FBI on July 2nd, 2020, and charged with enticement of minors, sex trafficking of children, and, of course, perjury.
Did you do the whoop whoop because that's your birthday?
Yes, sir. Okay. And because she was caught. Best birthday present ever. And then on the 14th, a federal judge basically denied Maxwell any bail after determining that her risk of fleeing the country was just really super too high.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Yeah, exactly. Because she was an international jet setter with a bunch of different passports and stuff. So, as of July of 6th, 2020, Maxwell is being held at the Metropolitan Detention Center for Brooklyn, New York, and lawyers requested that the judge release her on a $5 million bond and monitor her with home confinement equipment, the little ankle bracelet thingy. Request denied.
Ooh, ouch!
Where she stays there today. So, good things coming down the pike. Hopefully from that.
Hopefully.
What do you got for us, Markus?
Well, nothing nearly as...
Well, that's why I put it on the first one. The other two are way less. It gets gradually, less intense as I go down the list.
Okay, yeah, because I didn't write that much. I guess most of mine would be kind of off the cuff.
I was just trying to provide context.
No worries, for sure. If you're just oh, okay, she got arrested. Who is she? Why is she?
Who the fuck is Ghislaine Maxwell? Yeah. Again, it's one of those things that we were talking about oh man, who's Ghislaine? Okay, hold on. So Epstein is, right? I mean, kind of. Okay, hold on. Let me back it up. Yeah, right. Exactly.
Jay Electronica released his album A Written Testimony, and Act 2, Signs of Nobility, was also leaked.
Ooh, that sounds cool.
Yeah. So Jay Electronica was this guy that kind of lit the internet on fire back in the MySpace days.
Okay.
With his mixtape Eternal Sunshine.
Huh, cool.
Yeah. Jay-Z signed him, and he was the super hotly anticipated follow-up. He's oh man, this dude's going to change the game and all this stuff. And that was 2007 or something like that. It was a while ago.
Damn. So is he rap and hip-hop or R&B or what's
it's rap.
Okay.
But there was a little bit of leaks here and there, lots and lots and lots and lots of rumors, dates getting pushed back.
When you say Luke,
he's the George R.R. Martin of hip hop, basically.
That's hilarious. So there's a dragon, right? Don't worry, the dragon's coming. When you say leaks and stuff, you talking about samples of
clips of music or things like that.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
That's what I thought, but I was clarifying.
But it's always, it's usually it's in some kind of rough state. Demos,
of course,
or the beat's not finished, or
stilled wave form.
You might be rapping and it'll just go, and then it'll go back to
where you tell it's super gotcha, totally.
Things like that.
A lot of the shit that kind of resembled a lot of the stuff that Tupac left behind.
Right, exactly. But then Eminem just polished that.
It just took it all and give me back the shit.
No, some of it's pretty good. Okay,
no, totally. Good.
This year, because kind of freaking out of nowhere, people, a lot of people were just forgotten him. Oh, he fell off. He's just, it's kind of like Dr. Dre with Detox, kind of the situation.
Oh yeah.
Where people just gave up, and they're just yeah, it's never coming out.
It's not coming out. Yeah.
So yeah, he just kind of shadow dropped it out of nowhere, And then it was like, whoa, really cool. But then, all this other stuff that's happened this year has got to happen. So didn't really get a lot of traction.
What with that?
Unspecified virus of unknown origin.
Right. So there was a lot of really good tracks on there. I enjoyed it. And even, like I said, the Act 2, because his first thing was Act 1, got released or leaked or something. Not exactly. Because some of it's still rough, but even that's really good. So, if you like hip hop, check it out.
I will. All right. Number 2 on my list. It's a little bit of a long one. And that's just Elon Musk. just across the board.
Okay.
Yeah.
You might be stepping on one of mine, but
that's okay. So I freaking basically, I kind of picked a couple of the things that he's been involved with, made strides this year, broken barriers, if you will. A lot of the stuff I'm about to mention kind of started before 2020, but all of it came kind of to fruition in 2020.
Okay, I'm pretty sure you're going to step on one of mine, but go ahead.
Sorry.
I'll just jump in.
Totally. First one is SpaceX.
Okay, you're definitely stepping on.
Son of a bitch.
It's all
sorry.
good. It's all good.
Actually, do you want to just take this one?
You probably have more written than I do.
Well, for the SpaceX, I only have a single paragraph. So
okay.
So I guess on the 30th of May, 2020, SpaceX successfully launched the 2 NASA astronauts, Doug Hurley and Bob Hecken, into orbit onto the Dragon spacecraft, making SpaceX the first private company to send astronauts to the International Space Station. Mm-hmm. Of course, as also making the first crew launch from American soil in 9 years.
9 years. Yeah.
Yeah, dude. Good job, America. Way to get back in the saddle.
Yeah. We're going back.
We're going back.
Just when I think I'm done, they pull me back in. That is kind of a big deal, because it's a private company getting involved in the space program.
Totally.
And, successfully doing what only the government's been doing for the longest time.
Right, totally.
Oh, I did have actually one thing I wanted to throw on that. Have you seen the new spacesuits?
No.
That the astronauts are wearing? Dude, they're super cool. They're
dope?
super futuristic. It looks like something out of a Hollywood movie.
Oh, well, it's about time, dude, because how many times have we been watching movies and stuff and we're like, our stuff doesn't look like that. That's way cooler looking. When is our stuff going to look like that?
They don't even look like real fucking spacesuits.
Really?
Yeah.
They look like some weird
They look like I said, Hollywood spacesuits. They're not designed to be practical. They just look cool.
They just look badass. Yeah. Awesome.
But that's kind of cool.
God damn, it's about time, dude.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That means that we're here. We've officially made it to the future.
Okay.
Next on the Elon list is the Starlink. And, of course, that is that satellite internet constellation
that we've talked about before.
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to leave a little link to that. And it's constructed by SpaceX, of course, to provide satellite internet access. And the constellation basically consists of just thousands of mass-produced little satellites. They're going to be orbiting in the low Earth orbit, working in conjunction with ground transceivers and stuff. And it basically has plans to use some of these satellites, or at least the use of them to military or scientific or exploration purposes. But fundamentally, it's supposed to be supposed to provide cheap, accessible internet to more parts of the world.
Areas.
Yeah, exactly. And so as of now, they have I think 60 satellites up. I think even more. And basically, they plan a private beta service in the northern United States and Canada back in August, and is setting up a public beta earlier this month, dude. And we are in November here, folks.
I actually did have something else to add to that. I believe we talked about it in our Starlink episode of distracting for Star Watchers and things like that.
Right.
They're investigating some kind of different coating they can put on it so that it won't appear to
look like a star.
The sky as much.
Interesting. Yeah. So maybe there's no lights on it or something. Well, good. I don't necessarily want a bunch of lights streaking across the sky and be like, oh, that's pretty. What is that? Space junk. It's suddenly not so beautiful.
On the topic of that, did you know we're approaching? I heard a figure that we have close to 5,000 satellites.
That doesn't surprise me. It's brutal. I know we were talking about this I think it was in our Starlink episode. Mm-hmm. I think, but. One of them where we were talking about how crazy it is that somebody's job is basically a space air traffic control. Yes, a collision avoidance system technician or whatever that you said. Some of them aren't even active. They're just having decaying orbit consistently until they fall into the atmosphere and burn up.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah, right. Totally. Don't hit something. So last on the list is Neuralink.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was developed as an implantable brain-machine interface. Since the company's founding, it has hired several high-profile, neuroscientists with various degrees from different universities. And by July of 2019, it had received over $158 million in funding, 100 of which was from Elon Musk himself, and employed a staff of 90. And I think now it's even more. At the time, Neuralink announced that it was working on a sewing machine-like device capable of implanting electrode interfaces into the brain using these very thin threads.
Right.
Successful demonstration of the system that read information from a lab rat via 1,500 little electrodes back in 2019. But now, basically, Musk has defined this neural lace as a kind of like a digital layer above the cortex that would not necessarily imply extensive surgical insertion, but like ideally just an implant through like a vein or an artery. And he even said on Joe Rogan's show that like the surgical procedure would only require access to the brain through like a small coin-sized implant that sits above the brain and flush with like the skull. And so basically Musk explained
so we can plug you in.
Yeah, exactly. Matrix, dude. He explained that the long-term goal is to basically achieve, quote, symbiosis with artificial intelligence, end quote, which he perceives as an external threat to humanity if it goes unchecked. Which I totally agree, actually, by the way. Just kind of like as a little like aside, you know me, I'm big like anti-robot and AI dominant guy. So normally you think I would hate Elon Musk, but I kind of feel like he's like the reluctant messenger and is like going like, hey, so this thing is coming down the pike and we can't stop it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and that's why I was saying basically about Pocahontas or whatever before. I was coming back like to the natives going like, hey, so there's these people coming, right? Called Europeans, and they're basically going to take over everything, dude. And you can do one of two things. You can fight your way into an oblivion and completely like lose out.
Or you can have sex with
them. Or you
can
basically join them, and do what you can to kind of earn your like position within their little fucking system. And we're going to be an insect compared to it. So I think he's kind of like, look, the only way that we're going to survive is if we kind of find some kind of merging, you know, interest, if we merge each other's interests and stuff, and because he's thinking on a way long timeline, right? So even though I'm a little bit skeptical,
you know, as smart as Elon Musk says he is, I learned this lesson in elementary school. You know, if you can't beat him, join him.
Yeah, it's kind of how it is, dude. You know what I mean? But at the cost of our humanity, Marcus. So back in 2017, some neuroprosthetics could interpret brain signals that would allow disabled people to control their prosthetic arms and legs. And Musk basically spoke of like his aim was to kind of link that technology with these implants instead of like actuating movement. It could rather interface with like broadband speeds with other like external software devices and gadgets and shit like that. Basically like Cyborg from fucking Justice League, right? You can just plug in anything. And so, finally, in August of this year, there was a demonstration involving pigs who had been, living with this new implant for like several months.
Yeah. And
where they had recordings, signals that were coming from the areas of the brain that was linked to the snout. And basically they just like live streamed the whole thing on YouTube and, basically compared the two signals, of like the natural signal and the artificial, the Neuralink signal. And they basically, the signals linked up perfectly as far as like no problems or whatever. And so because of that, the FDA or whatever cleared Neuralink for clinical trials. And so this year is their first.
We're going to have cyborgs walking amongst us.
Literally, dude. Dun, dun, dun.
Would you sign up? I think I've asked you this.
Yeah, I think you did. No. No, I'm a Luddite, bro. I'm one of those like bitter clinger fucking annoying motherfuckers that are just like, you guys are all going down the wrong road. Turn back before it's too late.
I want to go down that road.
Yeah, that's a bad road down that road. That's the old Anderson place up there.
All right.
What about you, guy?
My turn again. Yeah. I know you can't relate to this one at all, but I'm just going to gush about it. The Last of Us Part 2 came out.
I like zombie video games as much as the next guy, Marcus.
I know, but you have to play it.
That's true. Actually, I haven't played it yet.
So I'm not going to spoil or anything. The game launched at an unfortunate time because, there was a whole lot of violence going on. And there was also, a pandemic going on. And the game also has to do with, a virus.
Unspecified virus of unknown origin.
Yeah, it wasn't great. They actually delayed the launch for a month too. Oh, because the other thing is, people might not have the money or be scared to spend money on a game.
Understandable.
So, yeah.
Instead of food or toilet paper.
Yeah. Oh, the other thing is it got partially spoiled on the internet, and some people were crying about it. I didn't read into it because I was trying to
spoiled, the plot revealed or something.
A little bit of the plot details and stuff.
Lame.
Yeah.
If anything, that's the one thing you don't want to know.
Right.
Everything else you can kind of get away with knowing, like, oh, look at these gameplay mechanics and the graphics and the blah 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 blah. You're like, that's cool.
For sure. Personally, every time I play it, it fucking blows my mind. That's pretty much all I can say. Look out for my review coming soon.
Ooh, yeah.
Ooh. I should also mention Half-Life Alyx came out, and that was quite a miracle that many people didn't think would happen, but I don't have much to say on it because I haven't yet played it because I still need to get a PC headset.
All right, dude, and number 3 on my list, of course, is Tiger King.
Oh, God.
Because for one brief, beautiful moment, Marcus, we had solidarity in this country.
We could agree.
Yeah, it didn't last long, but God damn it was beautiful. And, while most people were locked up inside and, binge watching this awesome, batshit crazy, confusing, like eccentric show that, centered around like a big cat, kind of a shady big cat sanctuary that was staffed by like, ex-criminals and current tweakers. And, of course, led by the flamboyant and eccentric frontman, Joe Exotic. He's a mystery wrapped in a riddle, wrapped in like a sequence, not jumpsuit, but like a sequence shirt. And, when he's not busy, like blowing stuff up and making country music videos or running for president, he's, getting charged with the plot of killing that bitch, Carol Baskin. So, yeah, man, I think that was awesome and it was fun. And, I think it was good for everybody for a minute. And it kind of took us off for a minute, kind of collectively took us off all the terrible things that were happening.
It's good to have something. I don't have anything profound to say about it, but
well, it's not a very profound documentary.
Well,
it's pure entertainment, bro.
All right.
And it was good nonetheless.
Okay. We got a pretty good victory when earlier this year Harvey Weinstein got convicted of sexual assault.
Attaboy.
Yeah.
That was a shocker that he was going to get convicted.
Yeah, coming in with that fucking walker. Like he was
fuck that, dude. Yeah, that was ridiculous. That was clearly... Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Totally. His lawyers were coaching the shit out of him. All right, now walk like this.
Yeah. Wear this cone around your neck and these crutches. And
Yeah.
23 years. 23 years.
That's what he got?
Mm-hmm. Which
is better than how many counts of whatever happened?
Well, that's the thing is like you have to have obviously everybody it's an open secret in Hollywood that he fucked up so many things for so many people. Yeah, I think the actual case that he got was only 2 victims. So
gotcha. Well, hey man, 2 victims, 20 how much?
23 years.
23 years? I'll take it.
Certainly it's better than nothing.
I'll take it, yeah.
And it came too late and you could argue that, but hey, it's a victory. For sure.
Hopefully they don't.
At least he's not out there.
I really hope they don't put him in some like cushy minimum security, like freaking fire camp basically thing where he, has, access to all kinds of shit. I hope they put him in general population and freaking he just has to go through all the
shitty
great
things of being a prisoner. He got raped in the ass when he was in prison.
Would be great.
That would be great.
On like a weekly basis, just like, all right,
not that dude, I advocate that.
It's time.
But if there's anybody it should happen. I probably shouldn't say that either.
I advocate for it. I'm going to go ahead and just go out on a limb here and advocate for
that. Thanks for listening to that, and here's to 2021. Cheers.
Do you enjoy the show and want to help it grow? Don't hesitate. Like, share, and donate.
Never hold acquaintance with something for some. Yeah, exactly.
You know what always messed me up is when I learned the lyrics to that song, I was like, doesn't that go, keep your eye on a grand old flag?
Oh, dude, so many of the songs that you hear about, whatever, especially like a lot of the patriotic songs that you hear, you're like, this is God Save the Queen. You're like, what the fuck? Come on, America. Like, I thought we've fought a whole goddamn revolution to get rid of our freaking limey overlords. And we're going to just like pick up the same tune and just change up the lyrics? That's lazy. Come on. What are we, China? Stealing other people's intellectual stuff and just slapping our name on it? Mm-hmm. This Oz now.